crafters, are you looking to save money as you make your handmade cards? I have an idea for you. Let's use a grocery bag. Let's head down to the crafting table and let me show you what I mean. Look at these beautiful cards. We are going to take a recycled bag and turn it into these beautiful mats that you can use for your card. Now I'm going to show you several ways to save money with this grocery bag and several techniques. So let's get busy. The first thing you need are some really good 3D embossing folders, because that's what we want to do. We want to emboss these mats to use on our cards. Now, I want to show you some different techniques that you can use with these embossing folders. Now, look at this one. This is what we're going to do today. This is what I'm going to show you. This is one technique. Also, do you have this fantastic crinkle maker? This is really good technique, and you can crinkle your grocery bag to create a really cool background. Look at this background. This is a 3D background. Now you can use any backgrounds that you have. However, if you use a 3D embossing folder, it's going to give you a heavier impression. Now look at that. Oh my goodness, those are trees that you can use as your background. And then finally, look at this one. We used a 3D embossing folder. Now, this is where I want to show you the difference. We raked over this with some old olive. And you see how it really grabbed this area right here? Well, we did it again and we raked it using a lighter color that kind of matched the grocery bag. And so that was crumb cake. It still gave us definition, but it didn't grab here in these areas. And look at how beautiful that is. So these are just some different embossing folders that you can use. I wanted you to see how using different ones looked different. And then also be very careful when you rake this. Now I'm going to show you this technique now, how you can rake over this. Now, I went ahead and I embossed this grocery bag. I cut it down to a first mat. And I want to remind you that all the measurements will be listed over on creativemomentsbyg.com. You can go there and click on my blog and you will have all the measurements for these mats, so not to worry. Now, let's talk about raking and what that looks like. Go ahead and bring in a piece of paper. You don't want to get your workspace messy. Bring in the ink of your choice. Go ahead and open it. And if you are using Stampin' Up, close it and then flip it over. Because if you do it this way, when you go to rake, this is going to slip out. So close it and then flip it over. And then we're just going to rake the ink pad over our mat. And you can go as dark as you want. And this just highlights those raised areas and really gives it just the depth that we want for our card. And it is so easy. And guess what? It's free. A grocery bag is free. You don't have to worry about it. Now look at the difference. See how you can see those lines? Just makes it pop. Let's go ahead and make a card with this technique. Now I'm going to bring in this beautiful cardstock and I'm just going to make 2 top folds. And the way you do that is you score at 5.5. And then you cut at 4 1/4. And that way you have 2 top fold cards ready to go for your crafting. That's just a little tip. That's the way I like to do it. We're going to bring in our bone folder and we're going to give that a good crease. And here is our first card. Now, we're going to just go ahead and put that down, and look at that. Just pops using this color. So I'm going to go ahead and just bring in my tape runner and just put it alongside the back. Now, because it's a tape runner, it's going to grab right away. So make sure that you have it exactly where you want it, because you don't want to tear it up. Once you start working with these garbage bags and you start embossing them, then it makes them, it tears the fibers, and so it makes it softer, and so you can't really pick it up without tearing it. I'm just going to lay that down. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and just bring in the mat that I already have cut for the inside, and I'm staying with our craft kind of colors. So here's a pecan pie. I'm not going to color it. Just going to lay it down on the inside to get the inside decorated. And now we're going to work on the outside of the card. Now what I have done is I went ahead and I picked up this color again. I used a rectangle to cut out our top white piece, and I love these dies right here. And remember, all the materials and supplies are listed over on our blog. And I'm going to set everything up on dimensionals. So let's go ahead and set this one up. Just going to center it. And now, because I want to stamp a sentiment on this mat right here, I want to stamp it before I put, obviously, on the dimensionals. So I have a really pretty hello there. I'm going to bring in my Night of Navy. Now, the reason I'm stamping the sentiment first before I add my beautiful images here is that this lets me know how much space I have to go ahead and add my pail. I went ahead and I stamped this image along with the flowers, and I used this beautiful blending set, and this is light and dark crumb cake to color it. And look at this. Look at the way I shaded it. We're just going to add that right here. But first, before we do that, we're going to pick up just a little patch of dirt that it can sit on. And that is from Friends for Life. I just picked this little one right here. I'm going to go ahead and stamp it in pecan pie and just get it close to the bottom. Now I'm going to set this up using my tape runner because I'm going to set up the flowers. Now let's grab some dimensionals for these. And because I'm going to add these beautiful leaves behind the flowers, I'm only putting one dimensional right on the middle so that I have plenty of room to add those leaves behind it. Look at that. So pretty. Now, you can cut these apart depending on how many you want. I'm just going to see where I want to place these. And I think I want mine to come over this area right here. So I'm just going to put a little bit of tape on the inside. Do it again. Just slide it in. Okay, and now we're ready to add this to the front of our card. Look at how pretty that's going to look. Now I'm going to set this up on some dimensionals. Bring this in and just center it. Now look at our first card. Look at this grocery bag. You would not even know that that's what the mat was. We saved money. We didn't have to buy any brown brown cardstock, and we used our 3D embossing to give it that added dimension. Love this card. Now, the other thing that I want to do to really make this card pop when you send it to your recipient is I want to decorate the envelope. So let's decorate this flap right here. Now, remember I showed you this really cool tool that you can get on Amazon. You can check out our Amazon store. It's right there. There'll be a link. We went ahead and we just crinkled a piece. We're going to lay it down right here on this panel on the back of the envelope. We're just going to lay down some tape from our tape runner. Just put it across just like this, and I'm going to press it down. And even though you press it down, you still have those ridges. How cute is that? Now you just open it up and we cut around it. So I'm just going to do that. And look at this set. So easy. You used your grocery bag to add some dimension to the back of your envelope. So cute. Now, let's look at how do you cut that grocery sack apart? We're just taking a large grocery sack, and we are just going to cut the side right here. And this is cutting the front and the back, and it will give you plenty of room to cut many, many mats. So you don't have to worry about that. So we have that. Now we're going to cut the other side. Just hold it and just trim off just a little bit. And then you just open it up. And you have all this area to go ahead now and put in your trimmer and cut whatever size mat you want to use. Now for our first mat, we used 4 by 5 1/4. Let's create our second card. This time, we are going to use Winterly Treetops. Now, I'm sure you have stamps that have birds in it, so you can use what you have. That's what we always say. If you like the birds that we're going to work with, that's great, but you might already have some birds. So, look at what we did. We cut our mat using our grocery bag, which is free, right? And now the technique that we're going to use is we're just going to crumple it up. And the more you crumple it, the softer it's going to get. So we're just going to undo it. We're going to crumple it some more. Just keep crumpling it. You're breaking those fibers. You're getting it nice and soft. We're going to open it back up. And be careful enough that you don't tear it. Just flatten it out. Bring in something because we're going to rake it again. And now we're going to use pecan pie. So we're going to open it up. And once again, if you're using Stampin' Up, when you open it, you're then going to flip it. And we're just going to rake over. And you can see where it really gets in those lines. Oh my goodness, look at this. Creating that unique background. Look at that. Oh, so pretty. You can continue raking it and making it as dark as you want, but I think that's nice and dark. Now we have selected cherry cobbler, this dark cherry cobbler, to go ahead and put it on. And I'm going to use my tape runner once again. I'm going to get those edges really well with tape. We don't want them coming up. And I'm going to put it right on the front of the card. Now, let's make sure we get it exactly where we want it, because tape is going to grab a hold of this card. And look at that. Look at how pretty that is. So unique. Now what we have done is we took some lighter paper and we used the technique of running it through that machine just to give it a little crinkle. We went ahead and we stamped our message. Look at how beautiful that is. Sending thanks and much love. We're just going to add that right on top with some dimensionals. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, another tip. When you have your dimensionals, make sure you use all the areas around. Even though it's not your normal dimensional that you might have, you still want to use everything. That's another way to save money. So all those little bits and pieces, we use those. Okay, let's add this right to the center. Now we're just going to put this right here. We're going to lay it flat. We're going to go ahead and keep this just like this because it's really kind of a back to nature card, and we're just going to put this right on the inside of our card. We're going to bring in our paper again, and I cut out that beautiful bird that's in that stamp set. I'm just going to put a little bit of removable tape right here just to hold it in place. And now I'm going to use my blends. I have a couple blends here, and I'm just going to color our bird. Now I'm using a tiny, tiny Sharpie for his beak. Okay, now we can pick this up and we can add him to the front of our card. Just going to add him just like that. Okay, here is our second technique to use with our free grocery bag, right? Look at how pretty that looks. You open it up, and we have another bird with a sentiment. You can also do the same technique and create a beautiful envelope. Now I want to show you another technique that we used. We went ahead and we did our 3D embossing for this grocery bag, but this time we went ahead and we stamped on the grocery bag and we did some paper piecing. So we pieced over our stamped area just to give it some more interest. And then finally, look at this technique. This time we stamped on our free grocery bag to save money, creating a beautiful mat. Then we created our image and we raised it up on dimensionals. So take a moment and let us know your thoughts. Which is your favorite card? Which is your favorite technique? Do you like the crumpled free grocery bag, or do you like running it through the little crinkle machine? Do you like raking it after you've run it through the 3D embossing folder? Which is your favorite technique? Well, Maudie and I appreciate you spending your time with us. Were you inspired? Do you like this? We sure would appreciate you taking a moment and subscribing to our channel, and then give us a like and a share. Well, we want you to go out, have a fantastic day, take time to craft and use this technique, creating those quick and easy and unique mats. We'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.